All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dowell. And I thought I'd come in here this morning and I'll talk to you, just kind of change directions here for a moment and just try to talk to you about a subject this morning that definitely is going to help bring a little bit of understanding, give you a little bit more clarity, and maybe help you spend today to evaluate your own self and to look at your own heart. That's the reason why I try my best to give you knowledge. So that you're not destroyed because of a lack of it. But I want to talk to you here this morning just for a second about bitterness. Now, you know, bitterness is that eerie feeling that we have in us when somebody has hurt us, disappointed us, or done us wrong. It causes us to respond negative or have a negative reaction or negative behavior towards someone. And then the next step is we're just simply not fond of them. Now, the one thing that we've never taken into our account is we've never taken into account what bitterness does to us. I mean, it's human nature for us to think that it's right for us to respond and to retaliate, whether it be openly or quietly in the spirit, when somebody has, or at least you perceive somebody has done you wrong. You know, the resentment, it sets in and it causes us to have unforgiveness towards the person. Then the next thing you know, we're contemplating retaliation, and then we have anger, and then we have hatred. The hatred starts to escalate. Then the next thing you know, it turns to violence, and then from violence it ends up in some type of breaking of a relationship, or what the Bible calls murder. But anyway, speaking about bitterness this morning, you know, in our society, natural man society, the educated society, they have this ideal that you can solve spiritual problems with natural means. They've learned how to mask symptoms and diseases through drugs, pills, or herbs, or whatever it is, rather than actually dealing with the spiritual problem, which is internal, which we feel in our soulish realm, we feel in ourselves. We feel the pain when somebody has hurt us, disappointed us, or done us wrong. But I will tell you this, and I often say this, there's nobody in this world worth you suffering for or over or carrying a lifetime of pain, because ultimately what it's going to end up doing is end up destroying you, and your quality of life is just not going to have a healthy outlook if you continue to keep allowing people to affect you in certain ways. Let's just face it. We have evil people in the world. And the truth is, there are more evil people than there are good. And that's just a fact. That is just a little fact. Most people, they woke up on the wrong side of bed this morning, and their life is miserable. And so they're going to do everything they can to make sure that they soak others in the same attitude and outlook on life that they have themselves. You know, you have to be careful how you carry yourself on a daily basis. And the reason being is because you don't want yourself to be angry and disappointed at somebody else, and then turn around and then present yourself in such a way and carry yourself in such a way that you'll end up saying something to somebody else and cause them to be affected, and then cause those people to hold resentment against somebody else who they don't even know themselves. I mean, if we're not really careful and we don't gauge our hearts and minds and our spirits, you know, we can spread a lot of discord. We can spread a lot of hate, a lot of resentment, and a lot of violence, and a lot of anger. So what is the key to all this? The key to all this is understanding what's going on in your heart. That's the key right there. I mean, after all, people have done you wrong. Sure they have. No doubt about it. But you know, one of the hardest things in the world to admit is, who have you done wrong? Now you have to understand, even though you may have the opportunity to get it right with others who you have done wrong, there are most people that they'll just flat out have made it up in their minds that you are going to be their enemy no matter what you do. No amount of repenting is going to help. No amount of forgiveness is going to help. They have determined and purpose within their own heart that you are their own personal enemy. Now, what I will say to that is that you don't have to be a doormat to anybody. You really, truly don't. You know, we've been taught so many ways by so many different perspectives and persuasions, and it's caused us to be a very dysfunctional society. If you notice, we're very closed up, and we don't really get out and communicate like we should. We don't have healthy relationships like we should. Everybody's living in this isolated attitude, and people are just literally fearful to express themselves to someone for fear, or they may be hurt or disappointed or done wrong. But, you know, bitterness, I personally believe, is a spiritual problem. And again, I'll say it again, you cannot solve a spiritual problem with natural means. You cannot mask it with drugs. You can't go out and take pain pills for it in order to try to cope with your present situation. No, a change has to come about. And you're going to have to actually really, truly look at your heart to make sure you're doing exactly what you need to do in order to preserve yourself, your mind, your conscience, preserve yourself from any hurt, pain, and disappointment in the future. Because you don't want to carry a load of bitterness in your life, and then later on in life, here you are laying up because your body, you've done attacked yourself, and now your body's done turned around because it can't take the load no more. Now it's attacking you. And in your latter years, you got cancer, you're full of disease, you're full of diabetes, your own pain medication, addicted to drugs. I mean, you think about it. Anytime you allow yourself to become weak, to where you're addicted to something you can't do without, whether it be drugs, pain pills, or whether it be any type of prescription drugs, or whether it be sweets or food or anything. Anytime you've lost control of your own volition and you're not in control, that means you're being enticed, tempted, harassed, driven, and tormented by something else. And you need to understand what it is, because it's working personally on your own self-destruction. The problem is it's masking itself as something else. So you have to be keenly aware of what's going on in your heart and your mind, and especially your thoughts on a daily basis. You know, so many times we have traffic. We have all this communication. We have all this exchange and flow going on in our mind on a daily basis. And never once do we ever really stop to check these thoughts to see what really truly is going on. You don't have to accept any man against your person, whether it be naturally or spiritually. And that's just the truth. I do want you to live a quality life. I really, truly do. I do want you to have the understanding to where you can understand what's going on, so that evils are not continually perpetuated upon you, and then you have been conditioned in our society that if something's wrong, go take a pill. The pill is not the answer. The answer is truth. The answer is having knowledge and applying it right. Because you can have knowledge about a lot of things, but if you misapply the knowledge that you have about a lot of things, and you put that knowledge in the wrong category, the wrong area, you're going to cause more heartache, more pain, and more destruction in your life than what you bargained for from the very beginning. So the ideal is to be able to change, to be able to get some understanding, know exactly what's going on. But the real true remedy, the number one remedy for bitterness, is forgiveness. Forgiveness of past hurts, wrongs, injustices, and disappointment. So that way you can turn the page in your life. I got an old saying, he who angers you controls you. If you gain wisdom and knowledge and you don't allow anybody to anger you in the way that they're inciting anger, then you can't be controlled by what they're doing. You know, I teach the people here all the time that, hey, you cannot control the actions of others, but you can control what actions they're trying to bring to you. You can choose whether to allow them to fester, lodge, and to grow like a bacteria inside of your heart, or either you can have the understanding of what's going on and you can cast that stuff off and away. Now it's another point, and it's another thing coming. If somebody decides to get physical, we'll deal with that on the later end. Right now I'm talking about feeling guilty and having shame and condemnation. Because I know that most of you out there have tried your best to get along with other people. You need to release yourself from people who means you hurt and no good. They actually have a track record of it. You get away from all the people who have hurt you and disappointed you, and they continue to keep doing it. You need to have peace. And you need to have peace in your life. And you can't continue to keep having peace in your life when you have people who are using you for a doormat, and they're constantly taking advantage of your goodness. Some of us, not all of us. Remember, the whole world is evil and wicked. But some of us, we really, truly have a true and just heart. We really truly want to do that which is right. But yet we're enticed over and over again by those who are evil to retaliate again with the same evil that they do to us. We really truly want to do that which is right. So, you know, the best answer is you remove all these negative influences out of your life. Now, if somebody is saying something, it applies. You have to be able to look at your heart the same way that you look in the mirror in the morning. You really have to be honest with yourself. But if it doesn't apply, don't sit there and let it lodge. Don't sit there and let it fester upon you. And then you find yourself, all your joy is gone for the whole day. Nobody is worth you suffering in your mind or in your body for at all, at any part of the day. Because you know what? When you really truly look at this thing, yesterday is gone. Now it's basically a figment of our imagination. We can't do nothing about it, but we can do something about today. That's the reason why that we need to work on our heart right now. Follow peace with all men. Be good and be holy to them. Because if you don't, nobody is going to see the Most High. And that's just the truth. So I hope I said something this morning that maybe have helped you, to give you a different perspective. Hopefully I've tried to say something. I've tried to say words to persuade you to find peace. And I tell you what, you can get this peace. You really truly can. But it all is predicated upon who you are listening to. You got to have a good teacher. And that's just the truth. I hope you all have a real good day. And I hope that you understood exactly what I said. And I hope that it brings peace and happiness and contentment. And at least, if anything, it has jarred your mind to actually sincerely think.